Hey, how's it going, Chud?
Yeah, I'm
May
good,
I call?
thanks.
I mean, we've talked a little bit before, but
Mm.
I don't know if I've ever known exactly. Just Chud. Is that what you like to go
Yeah,
by?
I think if I remember
Okay,
correctly,
okay,
I think
okay,
maybe we
cool.
became on a paddle. But yeah, Chud's fine. It's got to the stage I get called it so much, like it doesn't mean like deranged rightoid anymore to me. So yeah, it's all good.
Good, good.
And
Yeah.
yeah, you have shedded the creationist cat kind of branding now, haven't you? You go by Vadim.
I I go by Hey It's Vadim.
Okay.
Probably Creationist cat. Like I've been kind of. First of all, I haven't been able to be as prolific as I'd like to be this year for various reasons. We won't go into that. Doesn't matter. But CC will probably make an appearance here and there in the future. But yeah, there were a whole bunch of reasons why I kind of wanted to move on. Did it for a while, and then to be perfectly honest, I find the whole atheist scene, which is what the character grew out of,
Mm,
even though that towards the end he was talking mostly about politics along with me. I felt it was time for a rebrand,
sure.
and I enjoy doing. I actually, even though that I love Creationist Cat, I personally feel like I'm doing my strongest work. Of course, anyone would say that, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
But
sure. I mean, I've just got to say, this is going back a little while now, but I used to kind of be like a chud. I don't know how much you know about my backstory. I used to be a bit of a chud, unironically, back in the day, watching Bench Peer, Milo Yiannopoulos, etc., etc. And obviously, I watched your videos and your video that you did on Milo, where you kind of called him out. I don't know if you remember doing that one.
Mhm. Oh, of
Um,
course, yeah.
yeah, that was a really good video and actually helped me understand some things better, And I think like Kraut did a video as well, and that was kind of a turning point for me of like, these people that I'm looking up to maybe aren't all they're supposed to be. Do you know what I mean?
I'm glad that was a video that got me in a certain amount. Well, it's funny because I think it would have gotten me in a little bit of more trouble. It came out like literally like a couple of days before Milo's big, like downfall occurred when
Mm.
people started talking about all that pedo shit. I'm sorry. Tell me if I'm breaking terms of
No,
service
you're fine.
earlier
Just
here.
that sort of reference is all
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And yeah. I mean, we won't go way into it because we have other things to talk about.
Hmm.
But basically, like, for those who don't know, I never really wanted to be in what became the. I'm using air quotes so you guys can't see the skeptic community, because 99% of those people were fools, and it became increasingly more and more right wing. And I started, like, at a certain point in it, I was like, I should probably shut the fuck up about this because it'll cost me my livelihood. That's how right wing things are. But then it just got so bad that I was just like, fuck it, and I'm going to talk about what I want. And basically, like, I lost a big part of my livelihood because finally people were like, okay, we can't have him doing this. Made a lot of videos about how I was an quote SJW, which is true. I was to some degree a crypto SJW. um and and my whole point with that is that was one of the videos that was like a tipping point where there were all these rightoids who were not liking kind of that I was speaking out against the community. And anyway, I'm just glad you enjoyed it and that you remember it. That's flattering.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've spoken to, we'll obviously get to the hippy dippy stuff, but I just want to say as well, like, I've spoken to quite a few people, like, for example, Jeff Holiday. I know that this person's a bit
Hmm.
spicy, but like, I spoke to Kraut as well. And despite Kraut's flaws or whatever you might want to say about him, I know he had a similar experience of calling people out, and it was like, what are you doing? Don't do that. That's naughty. So, yeah, it's must have been a complicated time back then.
Yeah. In terms of Kraut, I mean, it's funny. Again, we shouldn't spend too much time on this because we've got other things to talk about. But Kraut and I, it's funny. Like, he made this video. A lot of people don't realize Sean made a video about it, um, which called out the SJW community. Kraut and I are decent friends now. I like him quite a bit. I would say that he has, as people tend to do, he's grown a bit. He does not like that video. He took it down, and that video, a lot of people don't realize it was primarily about me, and that was one of the things that kind of like kicked things off. But yeah, I don't know. I could go on about that. Maybe I won't go into the points that I originally intended to, because it's just a can of worms.
Yeah, yeah,
But
sure.
I just wanted to be clear. I just wanted to be clear. No hard feelings with Kraut. It was a weird situation, but I like the guy. We are friends. So that's that. I know some people have problems with him, but hey, one of the unfortunate things of being a figure on YouTube or Twitch, as I'm sure you can agree, is that you're going to have a handful of friends who hate each other. So,
Yeah, of course.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the drama and stuff erupts, and you're kind of like, you probably have the same as me. You see these people that you know arguing with each other. You're like, oh no, like what's going on? Like everyone chill out. Like, yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? So yeah, okay,
It's really difficult sometimes. Yeah.
okay. So let's talk about the Hippy
So
Dippy
thanks for
then. Sorry, go on.
I'm sorry. What was the last sentence you said?
Oh, sorry. I was just saying, we'll move on and we'll talk a bit about the Hippy Dippy and whatnot. And I think probably a good place to start
For sure.
is just for you to kind of lay out whatever you want to say initially, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I did listen to your discussion with Dylan, and I did take notes. So I don't know, maybe at some points there's some things that after I say this that I may want to bring up here and there, although of course you're in control of the conversation. The first thing that I just want to say is right off the bat, really just and not strictly about Hippy Dippy. I want it to be known that overall, I mean, of course, this whole thing is a shitstorm, and I'd very much like things to be cool between us. I just want to say that I have over maybe the years, or really, I think it's just at this point, nearly a year that I've known Dylan. I have liked him very much. We've gotten along well. Aside from that, I have an immense amount of respect for him. I mean, the fact that he's just 20 years old and has what I regard to be an uncanny knowledge of not just foreign affairs, but the way that politics works on a grassroots level, all of the things that he's accomplished, us, completely apart politically, from you his Twitch channel and everything that he does online. It's like I will just say, I wish there were more people out there who had his knowledge set. Sometimes I feel like a bit of a moron, although I don't I don't consider myself like sort of maybe like the type of I consider myself more of an entertainer maybe than he does. But still, like I admire the guy. And the last thing I'm going to say, I mean, just this all fits together with what I'm saying here. When it comes to kind of, for lack of a better way of putting it, ethical calls. Like if he is making a video about X streamer and their take on, like, I don't know, using a certain type of slur or something. I mean, it's just popping into my head. A variety of things. 99% of the time, like, yeah, I'm so on board with you. I like, basically, I usually think that he's a very person and a very like down to earth, and just has a lot of great takes. So that's one of the things that kind of has made certain things that occurred within this more of a blindside, because I felt like, gosh, I would think that some of these things that I think matter in this situation would occur to him. And we can get into that. So
Yeah, sure.
I just wanted to preface it by saying, just my overall feelings about him. And that but I guess Now, if we're going to go into the Hippy Dippy thing, there's a couple things that I want to get straight right off the bat. Um, he made a few claims. I mean, there's a bunch of claims that I'd like to speak to, but there's a couple of important claims right off the bat that we need to discuss. First of all, he said that, and let me consult my notes. First of all, he said that he regarded or to him he just treated that after show like it was Hippy Dippy Part 2. And yes, he rated it, and yes, it was right afterwards. But I have spoken directly with Demon Mama. I'm not going to quote what she said because that's like, her thing. But she said that she absolutely did not look at that at it as a continuation of Hippy Dippy. And although I won't belabor this, and maybe I'll talk about this more, I think a lot of this is fundamentally the problem with all of this, that Dylan overall kind of just took this situation where the show was over, and there's a time to have your theatrical mask on, and there's a time to kind of like read the room, see that people are genuinely agitated, and you act accordingly. He just made it so 100%. Demon Mama did not look at it like a continuation of the drama. I certainly didn't. And I can give you more reasons as we go on as to why that should have been 100% apparent to him. Okay. And then the last, okay, go ahead. I've spoken a lot.
No, don't worry, it's okay, because I want to kind of hear your side of this. With Dylan, I had a sort of few things in mind.
I donated way earlier.
I can certainly, I can certainly get to you and talk about maybe some of the things that I think you made mistakes on, and we can talk about that.
I will. Can I say real quickly?
Yeah,
yes. I 100%. I mean, I have to go through that whole miserable thing. When I say miserable, I mostly mean it's difficult because I was anyone who can listen to it will be able to tell that I was agitated. My what do you call it? My anxiety levels spike, and I openly discuss this. Mm-hmm. So it's like looking at pictures of yourself when you're like, I don't know, just like 12 years old and you look like a dork. I mean, it's just not, it's a bit awkward to listen to. So I've listened to bits and pieces, and I want to listen to the whole thing. But I will say 100%, there were some things that I missed, which I wish that I hadn't. And I can tell you why that occurred. And, we can get more into that.
Okay, so I think what might be good, so I do definitely want to get to the point you just made, but just so we can sort of just clear out all the, maybe if we just clear out your side of it first, and what I think we can talk about maybe some of the issues from your side, and then we can focus on Dylan. Would that work for you?
Yeah, however you want to do it.
Okay, right. So I think the biggest point of this for me is, not to blow smoke up your ass, but from what I could see, it seemed like you'd seen as some sort of injustice, and you were desperately trying to fix it in some way or find a way to sort it out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like on one hand, there's this sort of like thing that I believe both Dylan and his fans continually do, which is just like, dude, it's just about like it's a dumb debate show. That's not an insult to what he does. It's fun and entertaining, but my problem was not like, oh no, Demon Mama didn't win the belt. It was just, I think everyone wants even something like that is theatrical and fun to have an element of fairness to it, and that's what it was about.
Okay, and that being said, though, I think for me, what I kind of identified as the biggest error from your side is you at one point said that you'll concede to Demon Mama what she wants to do. Demon Mama said, yes, I'm happy with the second vote. The vote was had. Demon Mama accepted it. and then you spoke, and then you kept pushing the issue. And whilst I think
Well,
that was coming from a good
sure.
place, it kind of been dealt with, but then you spoke up again, and it just continued it on. Does that make sense?
Well, yes, it does. I mean, and that's an excellent point. And this is what I have to say about it. And again, you have to like we have to circle back at a certain point and talk about the fact that perhaps I missed a couple of things.
Sure.
But I was operating, from like before I ever entered the picture. Dylan came in with these ranked choice votes and read them, and the math was very simple in my opinion. And Demon Mama very like kind of in a very straight laced way said it to him, like or like put the reasoning forward, and he just, for whatever reason, he did not get it. And he let like it was very clear at that point from what we knew that she deserved the win. And he completely obfuscated the math, which was easy to do. Even Destiny agreed with it. And when I say obfuscated, maybe that's not the right word, because again, maybe he just in the moment he just didn't understand it. I can't read his mind. I'm not saying that he was like deliberately like trying to avoid it. But what he did is that he said like she's like, you make the executive decision. And he says, okay, I'm going to. Destiny wins. So right off the bat, I listened to that and I could not believe my ears. Again, maybe you could say this is all just a wrestling show, but there was nothing remotely like justified about that. It was like, it's like I was like, what is he doing? Is he cheating? Like I just didn't know. And so I was very surprised by that. So I come in and we talk about it, and we again kept on trying to say, look, this is the fair thing. It was the vote. Now again, I may have missed a couple of things. We'll go back to that. But we do this vote, and the only reason I mean, like at the point that I said like I defer to Demon Mama, I was exhausted
Sure.
because the whole thing was anxiety ridden. And I mean, I want to say this real quickly, even though that it's sort of like a little slightly off. Dylan had said that there was no way for him to know that I was agitated, or that it was for real. I don't know why he'd think. I mean, like I wasn't a part. I was a judge. I wasn't in it. I don't know why he'd think I'd just like be like some like participant in his wrestling story that I was never written or told about. And I made it very clear. I said several times, I feel so awkward in this situation. I believe I said like 2 or 3 times, I so wish I wasn't here right now, or something to
Well,
that effect.
it's funny you say about the exhausted thing, because I think, when we spoke a bit before, I mentioned to you that like to Destiny's community, to like DGG, saying you're tired in regards to some sort of debate situation is like fucking a red rag to a bull. It's like throwing red meat to the wolves, because that's a massive meme in his community, because there's a few times where people have been debating him and they've gone, oh, I'm tired and stuff. But, I think in your case, at least, it did seem fairly genuine. You seemed pretty stressed out. I don't know. That's my take on that anyway.
Yeah. I'm. We can talk. We need to talk about that more in depth. But what I'm just talking about is more like. But before I voiced that I was tired, which I did. We'll get to that. I was saying things like, "This is stressful." Like I'm awkward. I'm sorry this happened. Like I gave so many indications. That basically is what I'm saying. But finally, to speak to what you said about the vote, at that point, I felt like I felt like Demon Mama acquiesced, because both of us had tried for a while to say like this, but this is what you said about the ranked choice voting, and it like like you should be able to get this, and he wasn't. And I like, you have to look at it from Demon Mama's point of view. Maybe I'm doing a bit of mind reading here, but she's not necessarily going to like she gets so much hate if she just is like, no, I'm not going to do a revote. I mean, it's like it's like a lose-lose situation. And so when the vote occurred and I was like, this is bullshit, no,
Mm.
no, no, it was because in my mind, and again, there are things that I missed that maybe I would not have done this had I missed them. But in my mind, I was just like, why did this vote ever occur? And this is the last thing I'm going to say about it. It's
Okay.
like, if you are, let's say you are a bystander at a on a playground, and some kid has ice cream, and like, and a bully comes up to the kid, or just some random kid comes up to the kid, takes the kid's ice cream, and they're fighting over it, and a teacher comes over to mediate and says, okay, I'm going to give it to this person, and gives it to the person who happened to steal the ice cream. And I don't want to intimate that people were doing things dishonestly. Like this is just an analogy. It's not 100% in connection to it. But the point is that they give it to the wrong person. um if either you as a bystander or the kid who, no, and let's say the kid said, like the teacher says, look, this is how we're going to do things. I'm going to like flip a coin, and whoever gets the, gets it right, gets the ice cream. So the wrong person ends up getting the ice cream. I think it's still perfectly fine for either the bystander or the kid whose ice cream it was to say, this sucks, this is bullshit, this shouldn't happen.
Right. Okay.
So that's how I look at all of that. Again, I would have done things slightly differently if I think
Yeah.
if I
Sure.
had kind of caught certain things.
Yeah. Sure. Because I think I do appreciate where you're coming from, but even with that being said, like regardless of intent and whatnot, if at that point it had been Demon Mama agreed to the second vote, Demon Mama's been deferred to, we're going to accept that, like none of this further from there would have happened. And that's not to say that you were completely in the wrong going forward. I think like there's a lot of shit that happened that, kind of fucked you over. But I think at that point, it should have just been, right, second vote's done, move on.
Well, this is another thing. I mean, I maybe part of this was it. I'd have to look at it, but you have to understand that there were already. I had been feeling, and certainly what I did exacerbated this.
Sure. Okay.
But I felt like there was this air from Destiny, and that I, you know what? Maybe I'm misremembering this, but I from the beginning, I knew that people like me sticking my neck out, this was going to have some negative social repercussions. I didn't realize it was going to blow into quite what it was, but I was concerned about people's perception, thinking like on one hand, I wanted to do what I thought was totally honest, and I also wanted to just assure people, and I guess I didn't go about it the right way, that I was being honest in the situation. So that might have been another reason why I kept on discussing it. Maybe in retrospect, it would have been best for me to just accept it. But like I said, I I still felt it was not just a situation in which justice has occurred, had occurred. I could have been wrong about that in the moment, but that's precisely how I felt.
Sure. Okay. Um, right. So obviously that was the second vote, and then this kind of was reinvigorated again. in terms of what else kind of went wrong, I mean, I think for the rest of the conversation, it was just kind of a clusterfuck. I think bringing in CTV was a mistake, and we can get to that. I guess the other thing that I'd say I think was a mistake was, you know, you've put a lot of focus in on this over the last kind of, you know, well, certainly the day or two after it happened, and there was a lot of Twitter threads and stuff like that. And I think that just continued to egg the drama on, and it made it worse, right?
Absolutely. I will say right now, I mean, although I don't think I ended up saying anything that I regret, we know how Twitter works. I mean, like, because I did two things wrong. One is I responded to a lot of people, and that always looks bad optically. I responded to a lot of people with like 3 to 30 followers. Not that there's anything wrong if you only have 3 to 40 followers, but it's not like, you know, you can argue that you should just sort of let those things go. And those things add up. It looks weird optically. Um, and then I went into one of Dylan's threads, which I don't know if it's constructive to discuss like why the thread itself. I mean, I'll probably touch on something else that kind of might explain it, but the thing that he posted that angered me, and by all means, I should have just let it go. I should have gone to his DMs, because once you're on Twitter, you know, you're talking past each other. Or rather, once you're on Twitter in public, you know, and there were a lot of things that people like. I can defend pretty much anything I said. There
I'm
was
having
one thing
some
that
problems with my stream. It's
yeah.
yeah, it's just lagging a bit, and I'm getting some Fs in chat. So, yeah, sorry
Okay.
about this.
What
We just got to sit tight
that's a
and
that's
wait.
a
I mean, this it's fine here, me speaking to you. So I don't know if it's me or Twitch. I mean, I've been having some problems on and off, but some people are saying there's a problem Twitch's end. So yeah, I don't know. Can you hit chat? Can you just confirm it's all good again, and we'll keep going?
So Doomer Politics says Vadim is a straight up crybully. Don't platform him lying. What have I lied about so far? I've been completely honest. Okay, I hope people can hear me. I've been very transparent about the fact that I missed some things, and I can go into why that is. I hope you guys hear me, like hear me out here. I I want to say this very quickly. What do you guys think that I would possibly get out of sticking my neck out for this? Demon Mama, even though that I like her, has very few followers. She has a lot of people that I think unfairly dislike her, and that's not to say that, well, like, she's had some takes that I'm like, whoa, I disagree with that. But what do I get out of it? I came so close to voting for Destiny anyhow. The idea that I would go through what I knew from the beginning was going to be a like putting myself into social jeopardy. The idea that I would do that to give anyone, my best friend, or Demon Mama. I mean, Demon Mama is not my best friend. Like, I like her, but my point is that I wouldn't even do that for my best friend. What do I get out of it? I get nothing out of it. I've been called a liar. I've been called this person calls me a crybully. I've been called a drama whore, a weasel, all of these things. And yes, some of those things occurred because I wrote things. But hey, go look at Destiny's video where he's talking to me. Look at the comments. Practically none of those people saw what I wrote on Twitter, and it's just like message after message of, I mean, a lot of the tweets, or rather the comments, I should say, are total insults towards me. Why would I put myself through it? I knew from the beginning that was that's why I was as agitated, and my anxiety levels were as high as they were, because I was thinking, oh shit, oh no, I've been trying to avoid having my ripped apart by destiny, which he does to people all the time, and now this is going to happen over this stupid shit.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think
Can
that
you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, I'm just you know, I don't know, when you stream and there's like a problem and it's like people are putting F's in chat
Doomer,
and then
Doom, I have to.
okay.
Sorry to
No,
cut you off. Doomer
okay.
Politics keeps on saying Vadim is a liar, and just Doomer Politics. Tell me what do I get out of lying about all of this? What virtue signaling points? You think I give a fuck about that? Like again, Demon Mama has a very small following. I get practically getting her followers. Like it would make more sense that I would go with Destiny, who has a huge crowd, and get in with them if I was doing it for some dishonest reason. When you do something dishonest, you do it for a reason, for some sort of gain. What is the gain?
Okay, look, I know it's frustrating with people in chat, but they've been timed out now anyway. I think they've got a
Okay,
picture spice or something. So.
I will ignore them from here on in. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Look, I know what it's like. Okay, like sometimes when I'm streaming just by myself, I've got to ignore my chat because they say such stupid stuff. So you know, it is what it is. But yeah, so let's get back on track. So yeah, I think for me, the two main things are like the second vote kind of wasn't accepted. That caused problems, and I think that I think you understand now that putting all this focus on it is kind of just further fueled the drama and not made it resolve any easier. Right?
In terms of the vote, looking back on it, I have to watch it again, and I wish I was a streamer like you that posted like Twitter, because my videos take so much time to make. If I was a streamer, I could make a video so quickly. I don't post the things that are not that don't involve like heavy editing and that aren't scripted on my channel. So this isn't the place for it. But if I was a streamer like you or like Dylan, I would. I'm going to be rewatching that, and in spite of the fact that I feel that there are a lot of things that I did wrong, I would make an apology video, and I hope that Dylan hears this. I I apologize because there. It seems that there were a couple of things that were said that like they went by quickly, but I should have heard them. That and some of them maybe not so quickly, that should have made me realize that the that revoting was a bit more fair than I initially thought it was.
Okay.
And I will just say this, yeah, and you know what, we'll go back to that, but please ask me, like, why is it that later, why is it that you think you didn't get those things? Because I want to convey that to your audience.
Okay. So you know, aside from the things I've mentioned, which is like the second vote thing, and then the Twitter sort of stuff afterwards, is there anything else that you feel that you did wrong or would do differently if you could do it again?
I mean, arguably, I wouldn't have if I mean, yes, I would have, because I thought it like I always do what I feel is justified at the time. Arguably, maybe if I thought about it, I wouldn't have done.
Hello, are you still there? Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Hello, sorry, I don't know what happened there, but the line just completely disconnected. So, sorry, you went to where we cut off at. You were saying arguably I would have, and then it cut off. So, can you just say that again, please? Sorry.
There's an error.
Hello. Oh, I don't know what's going on, but hello.
Hello, hello, hello,
Hello. Okay,
hello,
I think we're okay now.
hello.
Hello.
Okay. So where did we leave off?
So basically, it cut off when I said, "What would you do differently?" And you went and said, "Arguably," and then it pretty much cut off from there.
Oh wait, what did I say before the arguably?
You were just going to go on and just talk about the things you would do differently, or you feel you got wrong at the
Oh,
time.
right. I mean, I guess it there are other things that I'd like to discuss before I go into why it was that I had like a hard time hearing, like kind of comprehending certain things. But other than that, oh yeah, I know one thing that I wish I had said. I wish I had said, you know, what like I feel like I got a couple of jabs in on CTV, and we need to talk about the nature of what he did and his involvement. But I really wish that I had said, just called it out. I thought of it afterwards, and I was like, "Fuck! Why didn't I say, hey, Dylan, great idea to bring guy who literally thinks that trans women aren't women and that they're actually like Jurassic Park dinosaurs into this of all rooms, into this of all streams. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I don't think that he preconceived that. I know that he is very passionate about trans LGBTQ rights and he loves trans people, but there was something weird about that overtone to me that I don't think occurred to Dylan at all. So I wish I had said that. I a lot of it has to do with just dumb tactics that I wish I had done when like while CTV was screaming at me. I wish I had like started singing the Growing Pains theme or like the Love Boat theme, something to take the piss out of how fucking dumb he was being. Um and yeah, I wish I had caught certain things that, you know, we'll talk about in a bit that might have altered how I treated it at all. Oh, and then the very last thing that I wish I had done, and this is under the auspices of what I knew to be the case at the time. I wish that before the vote happened, I had voiced more opposition to it. I
Okay.
wish I had said, okay, I guess I have to go along with it, but I don't think that this is fair and justified. And I feel like I'm, you know, kind of in a like you're offering me a shit sandwich or a shit sandwich here.
Okay, I'd even go a step further than that. And I know it's difficult in those conversations to really do this sometimes, but I think maybe being more assertive and saying, look, you know, forget this fucking second vote. That's a bunch of bullshit. Let's figure out the first vote. Why are we going on about a second vote? Let's figure out the first one and go through it. You know, it's happening a million miles an hour, but I think that could have been a good thing to push too, perhaps.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, I'd actually like to hear, you know, if there were more things that, you know, I mean, I suppose you'll bring them up as we go along, but, you know, if there are literal things where you think like, Vadim, I think you should have done this, I would love to hear them.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Because
the thing is like
you
I
know
could
what?
nitpick. Sorry, go on.
Oh no, I was going to say because you know what, there's a huge chance that you're correct about whatever those things might be.
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah. To be honest with you, like, you know, there's some things I could sort of nitpick out and go, "Oh, this wasn't quite right, that wasn't quite right." But looking, because I watched the whole fucking fiasco and looking over all of it, those are my basic observations that I made about the whole thing, really. So,
I
other than that, it's just
I
nitpicking, really.
I would like to say because I feel like we're going to get to another leg of what occurred within that whole thing. So I'd like to just briefly touch on a couple of points that Dylan made in your discussion. He said that he didn't know that anyone was genuinely upset. I don't know how he could say that. I already mentioned that I mentioned that I felt the way that I did. I and then at a certain point, I made, and I think it was twice. I made a very concerted effort to say, like, guys, just so you know, this is a very stressful situation for me. And when this happens, I become a poor communicator. And I need you guys to know that. And then there was another situation where and people act like I weaponized, like I was bullshitting about it. No. That's literally what happened. And then the next thing that I want to say is he mentioned that Demon Mama didn't kick CTV. Now this might sound absolutely silly, but okay, but she did not know that she could kick him because of the fact that Dylan brought him in. I asked her why, and she was like, "Lol, I didn't realize I could, and when I did, that's when I kicked him. I didn't think I could because Dylan brought it in." Fine. Dylan doesn't realize that. So it's fine that I mean, he never should have been there in the first place. This is not Sherlock fucking Holmes or Columbo, who is like some great, detective that's going to he's going to crack the case. He never should have been there. We had to go through like we never got to, but he said himself he didn't know what was going on. So after all this discussion, we have to, if we wanted to hear what this dumb fuck has to say, we have to say like, oh, this happened, then this happened. Like we have to re-explain everything to him. Mind you, I would have a problem with almost anyone getting involved at this point. Like, no, like if you or Vosh came in, I mean, you'd handle it better, but it's like having to explain to you in that situation, all stupid. Next thing, he said that we should have like he didn't get any DMs. Yeah, he didn't. I mean, like what? That was the last thing on my mind. It was so incredibly apparent that I was feeling the way that I did. The fact that he thinks that he needs to get a DM in order to know that, I mean, like, you can read the room, man. Like a normal person or a person who is not so invested in this show that he's trying to do would be able to just see, oh, people's feelings are being hurt, and recognize that. I don't think he needed a DM, and the fact that he says that but like kind of blames the fact that he didn't get one, I think that's absolutely absurd. He also he I'm sorry. Ow, ow, ow. That must sound strange online. Cat attack.
Okay.
Cat was trying to climb all over me, and then
Saved by the cat. Saved by the cat.
Yeah. Again, remember, this is fundamentally, this is not a continuation of Hippy Dippy, no matter what he says. That's not the way that she looked at it. I like, and it's very, it's kind of insulting to me when he says like, oh, well, Vadim just doesn't understand what Hippy Dippy is, or he didn't understand, and I should have told him what it was about. I knew what it was about. I just I had no reason to think that it was over. And this is the last thing I'm going to say. I have other things to say that maybe I'll pepper in later, but it's like, he does this whole thing where because it is a dumb debate belt, and I of course, like I've already said that, but he does this thing where he dodges how people were affected by what occurred by saying that, like, oh, it's all just a dumb belt, like why, like it's so crazy that they overreact to this. Well, you know what, he's not being called, like there are real people, tons of people, as a result of this, who regard me as, like I said, all these horrible things, a liar, and this and this and that. I don't think it's I really don't think it's because of me. He could have like made statements and like stuck up for us more, so that, because the thing is that by perpetuating all of these ideas that like we are being silly for only caring about the belt, we never cared about that. We cared about how we were treated, man. And so it's just it's very odd when he says like he just didn't, like he just didn't get what Hippy Dippy was. Well, he didn't get that he should ideally just put down the mask when people are obviously not feeling great, and have some feelings on the line, and sacrifice building the show, building his you know, the whole storyline and whatnot. It wasn't his place to do that. And the fact that he thinks that it was okay and an appropriate thing to come in and make it all like a continuation of his show, I don't know, man. To me, that just shows that like says that his priorities are, are not there, that he cared more about the show and didn't care so much about our feelings. Oh no, are you not there?
I'm here. Sorry, no, I'm listening. I'm listening to you. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay,
My
for a second,
yeah, no, I've got my mic is like silent when I'm not speaking. So yeah, it's I was listening to everything you were saying and taking it on board. I think the thing is, I see some of the DJs in chat and whatnot, and I've got nothing personally against them, but I think that there is some bias that comes into play here, and I'm biased as well in all of this, But in any case, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, and I think we've kind of looked at that second vote thing, and I think we've kind of hashed that part out. I guess what would be good to get to now is because pretty soon after that, kind of Destiny came in. I mean, did you have any big problems with Destiny coming in or that aspect of the conversation?
Yes and no. I mean, you have to understand, I'm going to be completely honest about this. When it comes to like why my like kind of uh anxiety levels spike to begin with. I mean, like to begin with, I went in there thinking like, oh no, like I'm going to probably be on some fucking Destiny video, and he's like I've seen him be I've actually seen him of course do some awesome things, like have some awesome conversations and whatnot, but I've also seen him tear people apart, and is who I like very much. And every now and then, once in a blue moon, hey, I can see where he's coming from inside those conversations. He's often, in my opinion, way too harsh. And I was, I'll just be honest, man. I was kind of petrified. I was like, holy shit. I had actually thought not judging that whole thing because, again, last thing that I wanted was get sucked into the Destiny drama vortex. And by the way, that's not to say that I am like 100% in all ways against Destiny. I mean, if you want me to, I don't want to kind of. I know we can't talk about everything in the world, but there's a lot of positive things that I will say about Destiny, in spite of some, not liking certain things that he's done, that I think very few lefties will be willing to say. And so when he came in, to tell you the truth, all things, I'll say this very quickly. To tell you the truth, in retrospect, even though that it sucks that I am on his channel and all these fans of his think that I'm a liar and a bunch of other things, all things considered, I was expecting to get more like he didn't treat me as harshly as I was kind of fearing he was going to. Because this is the thing, I'm just not like, especially in those kinds of situations, I can like debate with some like right wing asshole, but when I start having a problem with either a friend and I'm saying Dylan is a friend, not Destiny, or someone who I'm sort of on the same side of, I don't know. It fucks with my head, and it becomes difficult for me to kind of like deal in those situations. So
Yeah, I mean,
it was better than I. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when the people that you're fighting with are on the other side of the arse, so to speak, it's a bit easier. But when they're like on your side ostensibly, and you've got this kind of vicious fucking backwards and forwards going on or whatever, it becomes a bit challenging. Sure.
Well, I mean, we'll get into that, but that was one of the things that was just really at the end of the day, just the biggest bummer about all of this. And I'm not including Destiny in all of this. The last thing that I'll say about Destiny is there were a couple of points in the where he made some points against me, and again, I have to like watch it again more closely, where he in a way he was actually correct. He was correct because I missed some things, and where he wasn't correct in some ways I can see where he was coming from. What he wasn't correct about was, like, I think he was intimating that I had a problem with him winning and that I was trying to go out of my way to give Demon Mama the belt. Again, I defer to what on earth do I get out of that? Why would I put myself through all of that
Sure, but
hell to
yeah, I see your point there. But I guess what I push back on that is like, you know, I think there was a fair point made in that the fact that it kind of the second vote went Destiny's way, and then you raised issue with it. Would you have raised issue with it because your contention was, oh, the first vote was messed up? Would you have done that if Demon Mama had won? And I honestly don't think you would have done.
Well, this is but there's nothing wrong with that, and I go back to the analogy that I made earlier, where it's like, you know, I was operating under the logic of what we knew before. And I go back to, if you see some guy who or kid who has his, like, you know, ice cream taken, or you think that that's the case, and or you are that kid, and you know the kid doesn't get it back, the wrong person gets it, and you complain about that. How wrong is that to complain about it, to say like, oh, come on, like this is not fair. You know, in retrospect,
Okay,
it's
so
still, yeah.
I'm just going to say, from what I can tell from what you're saying, the reason that you had an unequal response to it, or would have done if it was the other way around, is because you felt the situation was unequal in your mind. Is that basically the...
Yeah. And you know what? I would fucking, and no one's going to believe me on this, but if the same thing had happened to Destiny, and you know, it would be so much easier if that happened. If Demon Mama got the win and I voted Destiny, and I was like, oh no, wait. And I truly don't think that, I mean, do we really think that Dylan would have brought in CTV to scream at Destiny? Like it's, I mean, maybe that's neither here nor there. We don't need to talk about that. But yeah, I like, it was, to me it was all just like what's fair here? Have I sufficiently answered the question? Like, I don't want you to feel like I'm not kind of speaking to what it is that you're getting at.
Sure. I mean, I just wanted to note that, like, yeah, I think that, I guess my point is, and look, I'm not, I know that what it's like when you get a bunch of people coming for you, and you get, like, some people that give fair critique, and some people that give maybe critique that's a bit too much, and then you get people that are super fucking hardcore and coming for you, right? And it's difficult to discern what that is. But I guess the point I'm making is, like, I do understand why people would look at the second vote fiasco and kind of go, well, you know, look at what happened there, without looking at it further, and they take issue with the fact that it went the way it did.
I totally see that as well, and that's one of the difficult things in this. And I think that all of this is exacerbated by the fact that, again, I have to watch it again, but I do think in retrospect there were probably a couple of things that were thrown at me that made the revote more of a fair. I hope you can hear me right now. My cat wants out of my room, and I'm trying to speak to you while doing that. But this is the thing, you know, I can see why, especially with certain things that were said to me that I missed, that which I'm not sure if they were. I think most of these things were said quickly. That it would seem like, hey, how could the dean not get that? And that makes the whole, like, kind of contesting the revote thing more of a like what the fuck was going on with the dean kind of thing. And the honest truth of the matter is, and you know, like to like I have a sleep disorder that has been going on for 15 years. I don't people can like just scarcely understand kind of the various ways that that affects you. And so in kind of confrontational situations, when like, again, I can have a debate with some like right-wing chud, not to not to insult you, but like some rightoid fuckface, and be totally cool. But when a friend is involved, which Dylan was, there are these times where in my mind, like every now and then, I am not hearing what people are saying. I'm trying to deal with a situation, and just in my mind, I'm going, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And it's like what's being said to me bounces off my fucking head. Um, these things don't happen that often, but they happen in these very high stress situations where I am like, just, like I was sad about this whole thing because I like Dylan, and I was like, I was thinking like, fuck, is it like, yeah, this is going to get fucked up. And then also I take my honesty and integrity very seriously. They're one of the most important things to me, and I know that I'm going to be portrayed as in this, as like from what's going on. So is that there were things that, and that's why I wish I said earlier, like if I was a streamer, I would make a video easily where like, I have, in the interest of fairness, I have to kind of bring this and this up. I did not get that. And I suppose you could say, I mean, there's no way, I can't blame Dylan for this. There's no way that he would know that, like, yeah, the point where things went pear-shaped, because
I think most of what you said was good. It was the last 2 minutes of what you said, I think, that people lost.
Okay.
If you can
well,
go back
this,
to that
I
just
mean,
quickly.
this is the important thing for people to understand, and I apologize if people have already heard it, and I don't blame Dylan for this particular aspect of things. But when I am due to the fact that I have such a severe sleep problem, I've had it for 15 years. It over time, not sleeping well, it has a cumulative effect on your mind. And most of the time it's like in this conversation, I'm not having a problem. But in a confrontational situation, really, especially a confrontational situation where I'm talking with friends, and honestly, I'll say this, like my life is an open book. I think a lot of this stems from the fact that, and I'm not saying that I was being bullied at this point, but a lot of this stems from poor treatment that I got when I was young. And so when I'm in these situations in which that I do not want to be, where I'm at odds with certain friends, I like it's very difficult for me to deal with. My anxiety never spikes as high as it does in those types of situations. And what happens in those situations is there is this kind of moment where I am going, like, in my mind, oh, I'm not able to listen to what's being said to me. And I'm not saying that this was happening for super long stretches, but I'm just saying here and there were moments where just I'm in my brain going, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. So there were a couple of things that were said to me that had I really like that were they were thrown at me. They were not like belabored points, but they were thrown at me. And if I really kind of was able to absorb them properly in the moment, it would have changed my outlook on the vote. I would have looked at the vote more fairly. But that's what I was operating within the moment. And people are going to accuse me of lying no matter what. There's been plenty of that in the chat. I'm not going to respond to it, but that's what happens to me. So my point is that like when people kind of because I don't think it's just the fact that I was complaining after the vote that people have a problem with. They probably look at like there were a couple things said there that should make it understandable to Vadim that the revote was a fair thing to do. And it's like it's just this clusterfuck situation where I didn't realize in the moment that it was perhaps more fair than I thought at the time. I think it was. But I'm just the reason why I'm is because I really have to go through the whole thing again, listen to it before I kind of give a final analysis kind of thing.
Sure. Okay. So let's move on to the part of which it really started to break down, which was when CTV joined the call. I do actually, thinking about it, have one very specific thing that you said to him that I took issue with, but we can get to that. But other than that, I mean, what is your thoughts about that whole fiasco there?
I mean, he never should have been there in the first place. I've already said some things about his involvement there. The idea that he was brought into this to further the drama when it was no longer a hippy dippy thing is absolutely ridiculous. A lot of people have like chided me because I regard that as and I can speak to a number of ways in which I think that it was undoubtedly abusive in different ways. People have talked about like and when I say abusive, it's like man, like I know that these flags go up and people are like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, because
Like
abusive is a strong word, right? Like, I appreciate your perspective, but it's a very strong word.
It is first of all, okay, it's abuse in and when I say abuse, like please don't get me wrong when it comes to Dylan's intentions, I don't think that for a moment he thought like I'm going to abuse these guys now and bring in this guy. I don't think he's malicious like that. I don't think he's evil. It's about the outcomes and it's about it's about some of what occurred. So first of all, okay, look, I have a history with drunken abusers. And I mean just in terms of the behavior, what he was doing, that is classic drunken abusive behavior. It just like if you talk with anyone who is actually like like an expert on these matters, they're not going to dispute this. When you are flying off being said, when you are screaming at the top of your lungs, when you are being absolutely irrational and not letting the other person talk. Now, of course, you could say like, oh, but this was all like a comedy situation. But it was incredibly obvious that both Demon Mama and I had feelings on the line at the moment and that we were in an emotionally vulnerable place. At any moment, Dylan, like it wasn't his fault because he couldn't kick him. Well, at any point he could have stepped in and said like, hey dude, that's enough. That's enough.
Okay. I mean,
and the last thing I want to say, I'm sorry.
mm.
I know you have something to say, but so I'm talking about when first of all, when I say abuse, I'm talking one about the character of what he did, or rather the like what drunken abuse purely is. Next, I'm also talking about the effect that it had, and we can get into that. But the last thing that I want to say is like, yes, CTV is this larger than life crazy guy. In some ways, it's not like as this was going on, I was shuddering inside and I was crying, but it was abusive to me. We can get into the next phase of it, which is it was abusive to me, not so much because of what he was doing, but because I had this person who I thought was a friend on the other end, totally he made that happen. I'm not saying that like he said he ordered him to do it, but he brought him in. He didn't stop him from doing it. And the whole thing, let's be honest, the whole thing was to humiliate or just whatever you want to call it, put the smack down on both Demon Mama and I. And that is just I think, you know, when like we were not in on it, like we can talk about Demon Mom, like he says that Demon Mama is cool with everything, and maybe she's given him the impression of it. I've talked with her. I know she doesn't feel cool with everything that happened, that she feels kind of awful about how she was treated. But yeah, I think it's an abusive thing to do to a friend, to put them in a situation where they are where they become the butt of so many jokes, tons of people saying, oh, see, TV is based. It's disgusting to me that this person that this person who is like drunk off his ass and displaying this really unhealthy behavior is being like celebrated as like a, you know, based. And last thing I'm going to say, I know I've been talking.
I want to get in. So please make this last thing. I really want to get in.
Okay. I'm sorry. I have so much to say on.
It's all good. It's all good. Hello?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here.
You want me to? You want me to speak? Okay, sorry. I thought we were going to say something else. Right. Okay. So I just want to. There's some things I just want to push back on a little bit, because one of the things I was going to criticize you for is you made a comment, and it sort of alluded to getting some help with alcohol or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was.
I stand by that.
I didn't like that because I tell you why. Okay, so I've got sympathy for the people, for the people that came to you about your condition. Even if I feel like we're getting into the realm of diagnosing people with stuff. Like, I think CTV was belligerent. He was a shithead, and it was wrong that he was there. But I just think we're starting to cross lines that I'm just a bit uncomfortable with. So I think, you know, it's okay to say he was a dickhead. Wait, come on, let me speak. God, you speak. So I think that it's okay to say he was a dickhead or whatever. But this sort of like, you're almost like diagnosing him with this alcohol problem, and it's like, I think that's a step too far, and you're getting into the realm of diagnosing people with issues. But further to that, even if he did have an alcohol problem, I think that you kind of used it as an insult or something like that. Like, you clearly weren't concerned.
Of course I did. I mean, I was like I'm. Look. I respect that that's how you feel, but I am like being completely brigaded. People are obviously like, you know, like laughing their asses off, and I'm going to say anything like I don't think that saying that, especially since he was drunk off his ass and he was displaying like very classic drunken abusive behavior. I mean,
sure, but you're not in a place to like diagnose that, are you, in any sort of meaningful way? Let's be real here.
Yeah, but look. If you are at a party and someone is doing that to a friend of yours and they won't stop, you're going to come in with some shit and try and take the piss out of them.
So you were going hard. You were going hard. You were going for the juggler. Is that?
I absolutely, because what else could I do? I mean, like inside that situation, I mean, I don't think it was a matter of necessarily like trying to save face, but he was so out of line. I mean, there's very few things that I think I could have said that would have made that. And I go back to the fact that like the dude is doing this, and you know what? Never mind. I'm not going to talk about his anti-trans.
Look. Okay, listen. I'm just putting this out because, you know, I think that, to me, like, look. Don't get me wrong, CTV being there was a disaster. To be honest, it was extremely entertaining as a viewer from the outside, but I completely appreciate that being in the middle of that is fucked, and it's going to be very hard to deal with. So I'm not like judging you or moralizing on you for like taking a punch at the throat. Like, I understand what was going on there. You know, it's easy for me to sit there and go, oh, that was a bit under the belt. Do you know what I mean? But I just think it was wrong from my perspective. But, you know, appreciate you've got a different perspective on it, but I just wanted to make a note of that.
I respect that. I respect your take, and you know, a couple of other people made the same, and you know, I stand by it. I don't think it would have had. I don't think it would have had the same outcome if he wasn't belligerently drunk. He was belligerently drunk, and everybody who is cool with it is cool with it because it was fun, it was entertaining, it was a fun train wreck to watch, and a lot of people loved that it was at the expense of both Demon Mama and I.
And sorry, I just wanted to make one point as well, kind of to defend you somewhat, right? I know there's people from DGG in here, okay? You've got fucking Destiny talking about Down syndrome Avengers, and you all fucking clap like seals, right? You know, that's fine. But then when someone else makes and that's obviously, you know, pretty offensive in terms of some ways you could look at that. But when someone else makes a spicy comment, you're fucking up in arms and you're like, oh no, they fucking said a bad thing. And it's like, motherfucker, your fucking dude who you like watching says spicy shit all the time and you don't fucking care. So, you know, at least be consistent, right? These people have got to either take that people say spicy shit and that's fine, or you don't like it and you call out every time. So stop being fucking hypocrites. That's the only point I wanted to make on that one.
That's hysterical to me. I mean, the idea that, like, I had no idea, I hadn't been watching the chat, but that's like some extremely hypocritical shit right there. I mean, like, oh my god.
Yeah, look, you know, Destiny is spicy. And look, to be honest with you, right? Look, I like spicy fucking jokes and memes, and I laugh at fucking people being assholes, you know. But like, you know, but I'll still say it's bad and you shouldn't do it, you know. But you can't like majorly laugh and say, "Oh, that's fine for this person to say that," and then someone on the other side does it, and you're like, "Oh, clutching your pearls." Like, fuck off with that shit, bullshit.
Yeah. I like, again, like, I think people misunderstand what I was saying about and you know, I'm going to speak to other ways in which I think it is abusive, and I'm talking about being abusive, like I'm talking about just being overall horrible to a friend, taking advantage of them, and whatnot. His behavior, I mean, do you disagree with me that his behavior showed? Because I could probably send you like some articles about like what the character the characteristics of like drunken abusive behavior are.
Even if that's true, I don't think there's any.
There.
Okay, I don't think there's any value in like, is CTV this? I just don't think there's value in that personally, and you want to hide into nothing, going down the route of like medicalizing shit like that.
I'm not defending here what I said to him. What I'm defending here is characterizing just how he was screaming and the fact that it was allowed to go on so long. And there's other reasons why I regard it as such that are more important, but why I'm saying that's abusive.
Okay. I see where you're coming from with that. Yeah, sure. And I mean, I don't know what to say to you. I just don't. I just think that there's plenty of things that you can definitely say without issue. You know, he was an asshole. He was a dickhead. He was this, this, and this. You know, abusive is a very loaded word. Even if you think you've got some sources that can validate it, I just personally, where possible, think it's best to try and avoid it.
The reason why I brought it up is because, you know, I like people. Well, perhaps I shouldn't have listened, but DGGers in the chat were like, you know, you called him abusive, blah 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 blah. So I'm just kind of, you know, like, I mean,
yeah,
okay.
Sorry.
Let's go to the more substantial, because to me, out of all the ways in which I regard it as abusive, that's the least important to me, even though that I do think that is true and it holds weight. The next thing is this: Dylan orchestrated the situation. Again, I don't think that he knew what was going to occur, but he did two things, or a series of things. He allowed it to go on. He brought him in, never should have been in there in the first place. Two, he allowed it to go on and could have stopped it at any point. Both of those things to me are just like, what the fucks. Really more that he didn't stop it, and that afterwards, when you were talking with him, like, do you regret doing this? He doesn't regret doing it, because you know why? Because I'll talk with him at a certain point and we'll hash this out. but he did also tell me that he was doing it for the drama. And so he was doing it to further the drama, not caring about our feelings. And this is the thing, like afterwards, he posts all these memes celebrating the whole thing, things where like his face is photoshopped onto like wrestlers along with Destiny and CTV. And on like one hand, it's like, okay, like if this was just what happened in the show, that would be perfectly fine. But this is at our expense. The whole idea behind those memes, all memes have ideas, is that they were putting the drop on us. They were, like they came together as like the dream team and were awful to us. In DMs, Dylan apologized to me and said, I had no idea that this was going to happen. And I'm so sorry that it happened. So then when he posts all these memes where he's like celebrating it and on shows like laughing about it, it makes me feel like, I mean, there are other reasons that I won't go into that things that he said that make me feel like he isn't that sorry, but like it makes me feel like the kind thing to do, the empathetic thing to do would be to just say like, make memes off of the show and understand that like people, I mean, Demon Mama, despite what he says, feels really just it's what it's about is just feeling stabbed in the back by a friend, that a friend would use you in the situation in which you're emotionally vulnerable to not talk with you about what's going on, but bring in some heavy to up the drama, create more sensationalism that is good for his show. It's all about him. It's all about him and his show.
So okay, right. One thing I just want to say there, and look, I've got to do my due duty here and kind of push back, because I push back quite hard with Dylan, so I want to give a fair, crack of the whip to everyone, so to speak. But in your situation there, so you're saying, Dylan brought someone in, and I agree with you. Bringing in CTV was stupid. And Dylan said to me, practically it was just for the drama. But Dylan's concept there was that he literally didn't know that everyone was taking it so seriously. He thought everyone was just playing into
that's
so what's your response to that?
Okay, that's absolutely ridiculous. I'll reiterate. I had said several times that I felt incredibly awkward in that situation. You could read Demon Mama's face and see how she felt inside that situation. I had a couple times talked about how my anxiety levels were spiking, and again, it wasn't a continuation of his show. No matter what he says, it wasn't his place to continue to orchestrate this like wrestling storyline. It was her stream. He said in a tweet it was 1,000,000% a continuation of Hippy Dippy. She completely disagrees, and I mean that's really that. I think it's really a dodge on his part to assume any responsibility whatsoever for what occurred. And I mean, I feel like there's one other aspect to it that I haven't spoken to, but I forget what that is. I mean, do you feel like I have sufficiently? I mean, it's just it's like he said that I had to like he didn't get any messages. Like you can tell like what is going on in someone's. This is what I wanted to say. When all was said and done, like he literally in one of our, and granted, I said like some things that I regret, and hopefully he regrets this. He said that everything past the vote mistake was on me, and I didn't bring CTV in there. When CTV was gone, look, Demon Mama was dignified. She was strong. She was holding it together. But you can see that when she told everyone to shut up, when she finally realized that she could kick him, she like very subtly bats away a couple of tears. And those tears were not because she was so triggered by what's his name, by CTV screaming. I mean, it wasn't that necessarily. It was the like the stab in the back of having someone who you think really cares about you, who should have your back, silence you like that, treat you like you are just fodder, you're just material for this dumbass wrestling show. And you have to remember there are real consequences for all this. He just goes on and he says it's just a wrestling show. Again, go to like the the any like Destiny's discussion on that video. There are all these people who are I mean, of course, Destiny's people hate Demon Mama, but like, there's plenty of people here calling me a liar, calling me all sorts of things.
Sorry, I just want to comment on the chat. Like,
Yeah.
I appreciate there's a lot of people being very rude to you. I do, like, I know it's probably not very nice for you. I try and have quite an open policy with chat, as long as I'm not being racist or stuff like that. But if you see any comments that you think are particularly egregious, do let me know. And mods are looking for anything that crosses the line. So
yeah. For the most part, I'm not paying attention. I'm like checking in like once in a great while, sure, and I'll see something.
The best advice is just not to look at chat. I know it's difficult. I know it's hard, but
Yeah, no, I know. I should just avoid it 100% altogether. But these are real world consequences. Like Demon Mama, if whether like you hate her or not, Dylan certainly doesn't, and she doesn't need any more. Like she has so many people who are so against her to begin with. And he is continuing to perpetuate when he says things like post memes where the idea is that the people who are complaining about what happened just care that she didn't get the belt. Some people are going to read, a lot of people are going to read that and think like, oh yeah, because I've gotten tons of these messages. I've seen tons of these messages towards her. Like just saying like, oh, you just cared about a stupid belt. And it perpetuates that. So like he wants his cake and he wants to eat it too. He wants to, on one hand, say like, oh, I feel bad about how it went, but then like celebrate how it turned into a shit show. And I'm just gonna say this very quickly. I like I said, I've absolutely talked with Demon Mom about it. I do not want to give the impression that she thinks that he is by any means an asshole. She cares very much about him. She thinks he's great and whatnot.
Sorry, I just got a clarification there. Demon Mama wasn't crying. Just to make that clear, Demon Mama wasn't crying. Okay.
She was. If you look closely.
No. She is telling me directly she was not crying. So that is 100% from Demon Mama. Okay, I've just.
Okay. All right. Well, that's okay. That's good to know. And then I fully apologize for characterizing it that way. It must have just been a moment where she was physically. Because when I say that I was right about to say that I thought I was very wrong about this, and huge apologies to Demon Mama for getting that wrong. But when all was said and done, there was a moment where I mean, maybe it was her makeup. She just kind of did a very quick, like, I do not want to make it sound like it was like, I ever thought that she was like bawling. She is a strong ass woman. And the thing is that anyone inside that situation, I think, could have feelings like that. I mean, like I wouldn't blame her, but I'm not. Obviously, she didn't. I still hold to that. She loves Dylan. She really wants to be on the best of terms with him, and things are fine between them. But like, she wasn't happy with how she was portrayed and how things went down. And I think that perhaps Dylan is downplaying or just does not realize kind of the extent that she, like, rightfully would feel that way. This isn't something that she's not going to be able to get over. I'm sure that they're like all cool in the gang now, but it's like, yeah, she got a lot of shit for that she never should have gotten. She was so graceful from the beginning. Like, people were saying that she was a sore winner before, like, she even talked to Dylan. Like, I watched the beginning of that VOD. She was totally like, hey, sometimes you lose. When she was talking with Dylan, it wasn't until like all this like drama happened and we were getting increasingly treated poorly, and that Dylan was not exercising like the type of empathy that I think most friends would have for another person, and he was sacrificing our kind of well-being for this dumbass show, which was not going on. It was no longer that show. That's when I think that she felt hurt. And I'm so sorry, Demon Mama, for characterizing it that way.
That's okay.
And
Sorry.
I'm sorry to the chat to kind of like that's a huge mistake on my part. I just didn't know. So
Okay, no worries. Chat is just off the chain at the moment, so we're just gonna continue on. And I might well bring. I mean, it's up to Demon obviously, but I think she maybe mentioned coming on after. I don't know, but no pressure on Demon because it's a day off, I believe. But anyway, let's move on. So I think we've kind of covered the CTV thing, and we've got some agreement there. Absolutely, he was an arsehole. It made things worse. I guess the final thing we can talk about, because we've been talking for some time now, but the final thing I guess we could talk about is maybe the stuff on Twitter afterwards, and your thoughts on the kind of threads you made and so on. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I want to just look over my notes just to make sure that there isn't anything.
Oh, please do. Yeah, of course.
I mean, okay, very small thing. But why did Dylan bring up the fact that CTV had a weed hat? What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, that was absurd. I don't know what the fuck that was about. I was like,
you were, I mean, in general, you were, I think I've said this in other ways, but you were just hammering the fact that, like, like not everything is a game. And I think that I just want to make the statement that I think that the fundamental thing that occurred here is that he kind of just treated like everything that occurred as this game, when he had every reason to know that, like him saying, like, well, I wasn't DM'd, well, I couldn't tell that they were, like, he could tell. So okay, I'm just reiterating stuff at that point, but I'm almost finished through scanning my notes to make sure that there isn't anything else that I'm leaving out. Me not knowing, him continuing to say I didn't know was BS. Oh yeah, he said that I didn't know what Hippy Dippy was about. I mean, that's kind of bullshit. It's such a self-explanatory thing, and for him to kind of like say, like, well, I think that there was a problem because Vadim just didn't know the nature of the show. No, I knew what the nature is. I'm a comedian. I'm totally fine with the show, but there's a time to end the show. We'll talk about the threads in a second. I think that his lack of regretting CTV's involvement, I truly hope that he does a 180 on that, because it's just, there's no reason for him to be there, even if you completely disagree with me that about the abuse thing and you have problems with the way that I dealt with him. It was really, this is the big thing. I like, it was so sad that that this guy that I thought was a friend would use me as a, like, bullet point in some stupid drama story, when it was incredibly obvious that it was like that act and it's not CTV yelling at me, it's a friend facilitating you being mocked and all these other things, and just it's awful. It's awful. Come on. Like think of your best friends online. Imagine if they orchestrated something that was not a funny show, but you had a problem and they brought in you and another friend were doing it, and they brought in someone to just shut you up for 10 minutes. You'd feel like, what the fuck are these people? Even my friends, do they care at all about my feelings, about this other person's feelings? Like
Sure.
that's how I look
Okay.
at
Well,
that.
let me just
So yeah.
reframe this a little
Sure.
bit. So I think we've talked a lot about what you feel people did wrong.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
but
yeah. I went over my
what
notes. We're good.
sure. I guess what I want to say to that particular point though is, Dylan says he wasn't aware. If I was taking Dylan in good faith and said, okay, fair enough, I pushed back on that when I spoke to him. But if I said, okay, you really didn't know what was going on, what would your advice then be for Dylan if he genuinely didn't know, to make sure that doesn't happen again? What specifically should he do going forward?
Well, I mean, I don't know. The dude is gonna do what he's going to do. Ideally, I'd like him to exercise more empathy. Like, just read the room. It's very easy to read the room, and if people are during Hippy Dippy, I don't think anything like this is going to happen. If something is inappropriate, like, he's probably going to, it's probably going to be obvious he's going to kick that person. But read the room, realize that the feelings of the participants matters more. I mean, and think about the aftermath. Like, I can see, like when you were saying, like, as a watcher, the CTV thing was funny. Okay, I can see why it was too. In a way, it was funny to me too, because he was being just insane. But it's like, um, afterwards, he had a choice, and he still has a choice. You should ask me what I would like him to do, to kind of remedy this.
Yeah,
But
sure, and that's something I want to get to
but
as well. But I mean, specifically with that aspect there. So
yeah,
there's a lot. I think
yeah.
we'll get to that right at the end, because I want to talk about a bit about the Twitter stuff after as well. But in terms of what Dylan could do in that situation, it's kicking off. The guests, fucking, it's all going awry. But he says he doesn't know that's happening. Like, how can Dylan make sure that he's got a temperature check?
I do not. I mean, it's one of two things. It's either I just, and I hate to say this, because it's it's a little bit of mind reading, but I have a very hard time believing that he didn't know that what was going on. We were already dragged through the mud. I mean, I've said this so many times. I mentioned how it made me feel, like in in and fucking chat, you told me not to pay
Don't look at
attention.
chat. Do not look at chat. Okay, no, stop.
Well, I'm just going to say very quickly, all these people are like,
Okay.
my feelings. Well, people's feelings matter, okay? Like if the same thing happened to, I mean, none of you would say that shit if it, like, in so many other circumstances. It's just because it's me. All right, anyway, I'll go on.
Yeah. What I want to get to is, like, what specifically do you think Dylan should do? Because it's all very well saying Dylan did something wrong, and you think he should have known. That's fair enough, and I accept your perspective on that. But, like, what could he do to do it differently next time in that specific aspect?
Well, stop looking at every single thing that occurs as an extension of your show. We were in this situation that clearly was different than Hippy Dippy. There were so many dynamics about it that, and it just, the idea that he just is so cocksure, like he says, like 1,000% or 1,000,000%, I think he said, that was a continuation of Hippy Dippy. I think it says something about how he values, like, just the promotion of his show over other things. So what he can do is just, once the show is over, put down the mask and be willing, I like in a second, if he was to make some sort of like, like half, like, or just wholehearted rather, um, statement on the matter, just like maybe an apology, maybe just a recognition, hey, things got out of hand. Um, like there, he could easily do things like that. Once it happens and he knows that damage has been done, I think it's, I mean, let me ask you this, okay? Because he knew very much at the point after it happened that it had, what had occurred, especially the CTV thing, but other aspects of it was was horrible. I mean, I need to say this, okay? A lot of people don't know this, but like I mentioned it at the beginning, a few years ago, when that thing happened where I got like ostracized by the a quote skeptic SJW anti SJW community, I lost thousands in revenue. I had such channel momentum, and I also I lost tons of subscribers, and it still hasn't gotten back to the way that it was. At the end of the day, some days I think maybe I should have just shut the fuck up, but I didn't, because you know what? I have to look at myself in the mirror every day, and that matters to me more than anything. And so it's man, dude, it is so like, I'm sorry, I have to, like, my voice is starting to crack, and it's for a reason. I'm getting emotional. It means more than anything to me, like my integrity, because I've sacrificed so much. I'm probably, even though that I have a decently successful YouTube channel, probably never going to be able to get to, like, the point that I would have otherwise. If I had not made that sacrifice, I'd have easily 300,000 subscribers now. And I say all of that because it's like I made that sacrifice in the name of being honest, in the name of, like, what I felt like was the honest, right thing to do. So when I see all of these people, even though that a lot of them are seriously stupid shitheads, kind of just like putting my saying that I did this for clout, that I did, like, I don't know why that would be the case. Saying that I did this for subs, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Saying that I'm lying, saying that I did it because I hate Destiny, like, I just would not put myself in this situation. And it's just more, it's kind of fucking mortifying to me that after going through all this shit, and now I'm probably going to lose more subscribers because there was probably some Destiny overlap in my subscribers. You know, like it's just it's so hard to like be morally impugned. And so what he could, you know, what he could do is he could, well, we could talk about what he could do, but you know what, I'm sorry, I went on a like a tangent there, but these things, they fucking matter to me, man. Because it's like,
Sure.
it's
Okay.
almost like all I have left is like my sense of, like, I did the right thing, and I try to be as honest as I possibly can inside of situations.
Okay. Fair enough. I see where you're coming from, and like I said at the
Can,
start,
can, can I
regardless of.
can I
Sorry, go on.
Can I ask you real quickly,
Yeah,
because
please do. Please do.
I know, fuck the chat, but just tons of people saying cry bully, cry bully, cry bully. Do you think in any sense of the word I'm being a cry bully here?
I mean, I personally don't. I disagree with that. I think that there's things you can be criticised for, and I feel like I have kind of critiqued the aspects I was not happy with, so to speak. But I don't think you're a crybaby, no, personally.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that Destiny is watching, so some of his chat coming over. That's why there's a few people. I mean, to be fair, like I think that there's some people that are making probably fair critiques in chat, and there's people that are going overboard.
When it comes to Destiny, let me say one thing very quickly. I will say things about him, in his favor that I don't think you'll ever hear most lefties say. I like, yes, he's said and done things that I disagree with, but like, I'll say three things real quickly. Richard Wolff discussion. That was fucking ridiculous. In my opinion, that belongs to Destiny. It was bullshit. I love Lance. Lance is one of my like closest friends on the internet, but even he will say that he was a bad moderator. Richard Wolff should have had the expertise to allow him to talk more. When Destiny did talk, I thought he made great points, even though that it was like 80% Wolff and 20% Destiny. Destiny totally deserve, in my mind, he deserves that win. Total bullshit. Another thing, recently with Vosh, I like Vosh, but there was that whole thing where he was trying to paint George Bush as a fascist, and he was trying to use the voting results as I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but he totally went into conspiracy land, and Destiny was 100% correct about that. There is no doubt about it. He was, and the last thing I'll say, and the most substantial thing I'll say, and it actually pisses me off that Destiny does not get this credit, even though that, again, there's a lot there's things that, yes, that I once again am not cool with it that he's said and done, but Destiny, more than almost anyone, there was Contra, there was H-Bomber, there was a whole shitload of people, but Destiny, arguably, I mean, certainly he was in the top 4 in terms of being the facilitators. The YouTube was such a right-wing space, and he came in and almost single-handedly, at least in terms of debate, he fucking mopped the he created a space that was friendly to left tube kind of flourishing. And in a way, it's kind of ironic because now he completely hates what it became, and maybe he thinks he created a Frankenstein's monster. But my point is that even if you completely dislike him, he deserves so much credit for being the guy who facilitated that, who helped facilitate that. And I know a lot of people, I've said that to some people behind the scenes, and they're just like, yeah, whatever. And some of those people are friends, but I think that they're just in fucking denial. He deserves credit for this. So these are just some examples. I could go on longer. I don't have this unrealistic hate boner for Destiny. And you know what? Just saying what I just said is that's enough that some lefties who are listening, would probably just be pissed, just seethe and be mad at me for the rest of time because I gave him this credit. Again, I could give him more, but I'm willing to go ahead and put that on the line.
Okay, that's fine.
There's no bias, is my point.
Yeah, sure. So the point you're making is you're not biased here. You're not the kind of person that's just going to dunk on Destiny and shit on Destiny. This is more about your sense of injustice has occurred. So I totally get where you're coming from. The kind of final point, because I want to get the final thing I want to do is get some ideas of what you think could change broadly overall going forward. But I just do want to address this stuff on Twitter, because I think what started out as an attempt to do some tweets to shed light on what you thought had happened did unfortunately become a lot of tweets. And also I do think, and I haven't seen all the tweets, I can't say for sure, and I know you were getting a lot of fucking people coming at you, but I think there was maybe a bit of spice in there that wasn't necessary and stuff like that, and maybe you got frustrated. So what's your thoughts on the whole Twitter thing that happened afterwards?
I mean, I would really have to hear the again, every now and then, my eye just quickly sees something, and I, in the chat, there's all these complete mischaracterizations of what I actually said on Twitter that are going on. is there a tweet in particular that you can point to? Again, I will say that I wish that I had brought it to him, and yes, absolutely, optically, it would have been better to leave it. And if I don't know if I did, but if I, mentioned anything in regards to Demon Mama and her emotional state afterwards, I certainly take that back. There was a tweet that Dylan retweeted where I had said Dylan was emotionally abusive. The reason why I used emotionally abusive was because the person who spoke to me beforehand said that like I was being emotionally abusive to Dylan. So I would have put that in quotes because or no, it wasn't emotionally abusive, extremely abusive. I think that the result of I do not think that he intended it to be abusive. I think the result of it was abusive. I wouldn't put it as extremely abusive. I only used that term because the person who preceded me had used that term. So that is, I know that sounds small, but I mean, there were a bunch. Yes, of course, absolutely. I 100%. It was yeah, it was a situation where I should have logged off as some kind of edge lords like to say all the time. And it's kind of like, I don't know if it's bad to say like once in a while, but saying it constantly, I kind of think that you're get the impression that you're an edge lord dork. Yes, perhaps I should have gone out and touched grass. But I just like to know, can you, is there either, I can understand you not being able to bring up a tweet on demand, but is there a tweet that you can think of where hey, I saw this and to paraphrase, you said something like this. I can speak to that. um other than that, I feel like I should not have gone into his thread because things don't get resolved well that way. I mean, he said a whole bunch of things that we can get in. Well, I don't want to get into that, but you could potentially get into that in a situation like this where yeah, a lot of things that he said I don't think fit the I mean, he made it sound like all I cared about was the belt. And he also another thing that I'll say, and this is between Dylan and I, but we had a conversation and I was 100% okay with him. I mean, I was blunt in the way that you would be with a friend who you were mad with, but I was never abusive. I was never flying off the handle and cursing at him. There was nothing, no rage there. And he was extremely I did not deserve it at all. I'll just say he was out of line to the point that I was incredibly angry. And I would have responded differently, but he had a show the next day. He had a show, he had his benefit. And I was just like, I do not want to go off on him. I mean, maybe he's someone who bounces back really quickly. Sometimes when people get mad at me, it throws me off my game. And I was like, you know what? What matters is him making the most money possible inside this thing. So I'm not going to remark on this and let him go to sleep. And that's what I said. I said why are you making this worse? And this and I was just like, okay, let's just go to sleep. And the reason why I'm bringing that up right now is because I'll admit, there was no discussion afterwards. In my mind, it was completely beyond the pale, and not and so I'm just saying that you know what, it's not an excuse. I still should have had the fortitude or the kind of the presence of mind to not treat him unfairly, or I don't think I treated him unfairly, but not like flood Twitter with a barrage of tweets.
Sure.
But some of it was fed by that. Some of it was fed by this issue that had not been resolved between us, still hasn't. That completely added to my anger within the situation.
Okay, cool. So I've just been sent like someone sent me like literally a mountain of tweets. Like, there's absolutely no way I'm going to be able to get through all this. It's literal mixture of text, shit. But
Read
you know,
any
just,
of them.
just to sort of just some highlights, I guess. And this isn't even coming from me. This is one of your critics that sent me some tweets. So I'll just read this one. And you can see what you think. Like I say, I've not collected these. I don't really understand exactly what's happening in them. Some of the context has been stripped because it's a screenshot and I don't know the previous tweets, but this is what I've got. This is what people are saying you did that was wrong. So, first tweet here, it's 2 parts. I'll read it in full. I mean, not only is it pathetic to applaud that, I don't know what that is, doesn't say in the screenshot, but obviously that was done to shit on myself and Demon Mama. I was told it was done to further the story, even though it was no longer the Hippy Dippy show.
That's in relation to CTV's involvement in
Right.
in the show. So go on.
And she batted tears after, which we know wasn't correct, but didn't know that at the time.
Huge apologies. I'm going to go back and delete that if I can find it. I feel really bad that I mischaracterized that. Demon Mama is incredibly strong, and I was not trying to infer that she was like a crybaby. She absolutely is not. And people who say that are dipshits. Go on.
Okay, so it goes on. Not because of some stupid belt thing, but because a friend facilitated her being humiliated. And don't even get me started on the weird implications that has in terms of shutting up trans voices and how transphobic right-wingers will eat that up. Not saying most people who enjoyed it are transphobes, but I'm positive all the transphobes loved it. So, what's your thoughts on that?
Oh, I stand by that 1000%. Again, I would not say for a second that would ever be a thought in Dylan's head. I don't blame him. Like there's a lot was going on. I don't blame him for like I don't think like, oh, it should have, like, it's just very unfortunate that it happened. And somebody sent me, I made the mistake of looking at these Kiwi Farms posts.
Oh my god! Look, can I be honest with you? This is all a big mistake. Don't look at fucking these people that hate you. That is literally the worst thing you can do.
No. It was. I mean, I can take it because like I don't really care what these idiots have to say. But like somebody had said like I found these things and I was like, oh, I want to check it out. And I was more. I mean, I was disgusted. Like anyone with like a tiny bit of empathy would be disgusted by it. But the problem that I had with it was not. I mean, yes, there was tons of shit about me. I don't give a fuck about that. I like it's just Demon Mama, one of the toughest people on the internet that I can think of. Like she gets so much shit. And so like and she's not going to go and look at that stuff, but it was just like they were using all these CTV memes. They were like, lol, like he was the most base person there, and I won't even begin to repeat the things that they were saying about her. So yes, there are these like that show has a wide audience. Inevitably, right-wing people are going to tune in, especially since there are right-wingers there. And so I'm not saying that the majority of the audience, most of Dylan's audience are fucking awesome. Again, and I want to like we're getting towards the end here. I want to say once again, in spite of all this bullshit, like I think Dylan is like a great guy in a whole number of ways. I truly hope that we can find some sort of like, so some way to make this all water under the bridge. But yeah, I stand by that there are going to be some people in the audience who are transphobic, who are just like, yeah, like CTV doing the smackdown on a trans girl. And it's yikesy, it's I do not want Dylan to be dragged that much over it. I'm just kind of more talking about like the unfortunate overtones that the fact that he was ever there to begin with kind of, in my opinion, creates. I mean, what do you think? Do you think that I'm completely off base by just kind of like noting that
Well,
that's
to
kind of
be
weird?
sure, to be really blunt with you, I just don't think that's a particularly useful thing to mention. Only because that's the same for every panel show ever. Like, I think
Well,
and also Dylan did. You're saying I do think that Dylan obviously raided Demon Mama. I think that anything that happened, Dylan didn't intend to do it. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I don't know.
and I've made that clear, and I 100% agree with it. And just for everyone listening, know that that tweet that what wasn't me. Like what you're reading right now.
Mhm.
These are not these are not public these are not like tweets that I put on my timeline. These are reactions very far down in a thread
Okay.
to people who were being like one of the people that I was talking to, I forget exactly who, but one of them was saying like, I mean, like whatever, it's his thing, but these people were assholes. Like one of them was like, we used to feel sorry for you, now we hate you. And then the next tweet was something to the effect of, I don't even view you as human, I look at you as a plotline that I interact with. You just like he had been tweeting at me for a very long time, really creepy thing. I eventually had to block him. So I'm not saying that that was the person that I was responding to, I forget who it was, but there were a bunch of people. And yeah, and that got brought up. It was an off like right now I feel like people are digging really deep. Like somebody must have like I'm assuming either they're the people who are involved in the discussion, or they were like digging through my like all of my tweets to find like something that seemed off base.
Okay.
I stand by it, and even though like I would never blame bottom line, Dylan is someone who loves trans people. He cares about trans lives. He cares about trans rights. I would never in a million years say otherwise. And that's just like yeah, there's nothing in that tweet. If it reads that way, then I misread it. Are there any other tweets that I can speak
Um,
to?
so I don't want to dwell on this too much, but I just want to highlight because Dylan was in chat earlier and he made a comment. So his comment was along the lines of you apologised apparently to Dylan about calling him abusive, but from what you said earlier about the abusive thing, it seems like you to some degree stand by your claim that he's abusive. So
No,
if
no,
you,
it's like, okay, look, if Dylan, if you're listening, man, I, I don't look at you as an abusive person. I genuinely think that, and what I was saying earlier, like, I don't know if you caught it. Like for instance, I listen to like I watch a lot of your videos, and sometimes you're not talking strictly about politics. You're talking about like people online, and like the like kind of like was this cool, was this not. I regard you as like one of I'm just always like 99 when I say 99%, it's like this whole thing, that's the 1% that I'm talking about. Like practically every single time I'm just like, yeah, man, Dylan gets it. Dylan cares. Like the way that he, for instance, like, his whole attitude and towards slurs in his chat, and that he doesn't take shit on it. Like there's no doubt, man, the guy has a huge heart. He cares about people. um like overall, like I would never say otherwise. So in terms of the abusive thing, please understand, brother, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there was an abusive outcome to what occurred. I tried to, and I hopefully I really I really hope to have a productive one-on-one conversation. I'm done. By the way, you asked about the tweets. I'm done tweeting about it. It's unfair to Dylan. It's unfair to Dylan, even if I felt in the right, and I'm not saying like I want to tweet about it. But here's another thing that I didn't mention, which is it becomes unfair to Dylan when like, you know, there's just like this profundity, even if a lot of people aren't seeing it. Am I using the word profundity wrong? Just all these tweets, there becomes an imbalance. So you know, he says so much about it, and then there, and like I'm saying a shitload. That's not fair to Dylan. But when I say that something abusive happened, I'm talking about two different things. I'm talking about the outcome of what occurred, and that he, in the moment, you know, ideally could have spoken up in order to curb that occurring. I don't think he realized the extent to which it occurred, but I do think that it was very obvious that it wasn't cool what was occurring. So yeah, it's about the outcome. And then the last thing that I'll say, and I wouldn't regard this as abuse, but I think of it as sort of like callousness. Okay. um when and maybe he has a different outlook on it now if he's listening than he did before. Maybe he didn't consider all these things. But it's like, if you know that someone, by the way, you're still there, right? Like, I'm
Yes,
not
I'm
talking
listening.
to,
No, I'm listening. Sorry, I'm listening. I'm just letting you
so
say your
so
piece
so
to clear it up.
so
Yeah.
so when you know that someone has felt that something that you've done like really made you feel, because I just always thought this guy was my friend, and I still think he is. I don't think he like hates me and wants me to feel awful and whatnot. But it's like these things that he's tweeting, it's not the worst thing ever. Like I can understand wanting to like like he works so hard on that show. Like I understand him wanting to continue to sorry, getting a little lost here. I understand him wanting to continue to advertise it and all of that. But when people, when you're reposting things that like just the CTV thing, it's just like, I can understand why he does it, but it's like that when he does it, there's two things happening there. One, it makes people who are involved, who were treated poorly, like feel kind of shitty that this person is being like lionized. And then on top of that, it does perpetuate like and I don't think that this is his goal, but people do look at things like that. And I know, because I've been like I had this happen to me in many
Oh shit!
different
Sorry.
ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. You just
And
said, you just cut. You said in many different ways. Sorry.
um yeah, I mean, I guess I'm sort of getting to the end of it, and I don't want to over talk it, but I just I think that Dylan can do a better job of just kind of understand, like making a point of talking with the people. And maybe I made it difficult for him, and I understand that. But making a point of kind of like when if things happen to go AWOL, go like check in with the people and maybe say like, hey, how can I make this better? And I mean, I'd like to if you have more questions, I will take them. But there's one final thing that I just wanted to say in terms of like, what I think he could possibly do if he wanted. um I'd like to
Okay. Well, yeah.
say.
I tell you what. We'll get to that. There's one. This is the final thing I want to just ask of you in regards to
Mhm.
the Twitter stuff. Okay,
Yeah,
and then we'll wrap
sure.
it up and move on to talk about what you think could be done differently. The final point here is I've just got some tweets, and there's quite a few, but it's this. I think that there were some ideas you're pushing around, the
Okay,
idea that
okay,
Dylan lied for
okay.
money or took advantage of you. What are your thoughts on that?
I want to hear that again because I'm sorry I
Okay.
made the mistake of looking at the chat. But
Right.
the reason why I want to bring this up is because a lot of people bring this up, and I want to explain this. So I get this person in the chat who said like, "Oh, I need someone to hold my hand through the internet panel that I signed up for." And so a lot of people bring this up like, "Oh, you signed up for this." I had no idea that I was there to be a judge. I had no idea that all that stuff was going to happen afterwards. So the idea that I signed up for it, I mean, it just you use your fucking brain, dude. Like you're like I don't know. I don't want to be too mean to this person who seems like a total moron, but
Look,
yeah. So
okay,
can
right.
you reiterate your question?
Okay. Let's forget chat now. Okay, we're hitting the end road. Okay, the final question I've got to ask you about the Twitter stuff is, there's tweets here in which you suggest or talk about the concept of Dylan lying for like the money or taking advantage of you or something like that, or putting the fixes in. Just really wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, it's sort of like when when in the beginning, I really didn't know what was going on because it's like he was talking, and you know what? Again, I need to look at the but I've watched the beginning again, and I just did not understand when Demon Mama explained and this is all in the context of before we knew that Destiny was the rightful winner and whatnot. There was a certain point where he was like I what you call it like these are the what do you call it, ranked choice votes, and he read them, and then she gave the obvious math involved, and this is before other people had come in and said like, oh, I like I messed it up, I believe. And if you read it, I mean, you have to read the whole thing. I don't say Dylan like I never say like this is what happened. I i i am saying like, I mean, basically, I was so confused at the point is that like I just didn't know. I believe what I said was, you know, some of what happened, and forgive me if I'm wrong. You can read it. Do you want to actually read it?
Um, read what?
The tweet that you're talking about specifically?
There's quite a few. There's quite a few that's been sent. I'll just pick one off
Okay.
the top here. Like I say, there's a lot of tweets here. To just shut us up, all all in all, they treated us both, especially Demon, like a fucking accessory, like a couple of wrestling heels. Well, we weren't in on it. I hope they made a lot of money at our expense and all. So I guess suggesting
Yeah,
that it was an expense and.
I mean, harshly worded. If I had to word it again, maybe I'd word it differently, but I stand by the idea of that.
Okay. Like I say, you've got to bear in mind these are things that people have sent to me, so I'm just kind of, it's almost like I'm relaying it to you just to see what your thoughts are. Okay, what's this one? That's not what I said. Read again. I made it pretty freaking clear that I believe Dylan had the choice of destiny predetermined. I had better things to do with my time than waste time writing a 10th tweet to you. So I guess there was a theme of maybe suggesting it was predetermined. I mean, what are your thoughts on that now?
Wait. Before the 10th tweet, what was it?
It was I made it pretty freaking clear that I believe Dylan had the choice of destiny predetermined. So this is in a chain of discussion you've had. Obviously, like I say, some of these are a bit out of context, but I think that to me clearly is you're making the suggestion that Dylan had the fixes in or something like that at that point.
Gosh, I'd have to take a look at that tweet.
Okay.
There was a point where I thought that was a possibility. That had no. This is all like that was something that happened after the fact. That was not something that was going on in my mind during the discussion. I mean, that's something that I need to talk about with, I mean, because this is the thing. It's like I to some degree, I get a little confused because, like, Dylan talks about how, certain things are scripted, and certain things are BS, are BS, and then I'm treated with this whole thing about how, like, um I do not believe, like, I'm portrayed as someone who only cares about, like, the belt, and it's not about other things. um I'd have to go back to that tweet and really kind of explain it. And then some of it is, I mean, there might be one or two things there that, because I said something. You mentioned, I'm not going to publish the. This puts me in. You can argue, hey mate, you never should have said it, but there was something specifically that Dylan did tweet to me a while ago, and I mean, how do you think I should handle this? Do you think I should, like it's better for me to keep that between us, or now that it's like, I
Yeah,
mean,
look, yeah, I see where you're coming from, and I think the thing I'd say here is, I guess what I'm looking for here is, because these are claims that you've made, and the people that are criticizing you, they're coming to me and they're saying, look, this is the tweets that were made, and it's the suggestion that Dylan was being dishonest or lying or something like that, and it's just about you responding to that claim, really, So it's up to you what you say.
I'll say this. I was very confused by, I mean, this I can talk about. I was very confused, and I asked various people who were involved, and no one could give me a straight answer. I was very confused about the second, the ranked choice voting, about when that supposedly occurred, because I was never asked to rank choice vote. I wrote, hey, if it goes to ranked choice voting, then Destiny, and then it was misread, and that was that. And then, like Dylan came in with these ranked choice votes. I don't know where they came from. Again, I reached out to the judges, and I was just trying to piece together what was going on. And, because I was thinking, like, did these happen? And if they didn't, then it's like we had this whole conversation for nothing. They very well did happen, and there very well, it might be an explanation for that. I don't think it's fair for me to sit here and, without, certainly without any, I wasn't there. I'm not capable of having evidence. I know, like, I was judging off of what was going on, and a mixture of other things that had been said to me. And, all I'll say is, um yeah, I like it just, it gets to this weird place where it's like, I don't want to violate what, like, the DMs that Dylan and I had, and whatnot. And he might be confused about this, and I'd like to speak with him one on one about this, and I'd be very open and honest with him. I'd have no problem doing that, but I don't want to open up a can of worms that, that just, I don't know, looks. I think the tweet is probably worse on the surface than it actually it actually was. I don't know, man.
Okay, that's fair.
It,
Like I
it,
say, it was just
it, it's a difficult situation to be in, because it's like, yeah, you know what? Okay, I'll say this. Um, it's very possible, and I'll like if you could do me a favor, maybe send that to me afterwards. You know, I'll delete it. It
Yeah,
may,
sure. I've got a few.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'd think differently about it if I saw it in context. Like some of these, like it's just like I tweeted a lot. Is there anything else that you?
No, no, no,
Because
no. Like I say, like these were just sent to me by one of your critics, and I just wanted to put them to you, just to give a fair sort of shout out to like some of these accusations. You've responded. That's kind of what I was looking for, really. So, if there was nothing else that you felt you wanted to really cover, I just have got like a final question for you in regards to all this.
yeah, I mean, like just when it comes to the tweets, there's so many of them that it's kind of like difficult to like know exactly like what they like that they're always in reference to, but um you know, again, I like what was said was said, but there are plenty of things that you know were said by other people that were total bullshit. And I will go through god, it's a lot to go through, but I will go through my tweets and I will try and be fair. And if I said anything that you know that should not have been said, or you know that I tweeted out of anger, or you know maybe was phrased shitty, I don't know what, they're you know they're gone.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I think if you're gonna take that effort, fair enough. But I'll leave that in your hands. The final question I want to ask you, and then I appreciate you've come on for a while, so I'll let you go on. Final question is, what would you like to happen in your mind to kind of remedy this whole situation? Do you think?
Um, you know what? I have to go back and I have to be just honest. I mean, like I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about the mind space that I was in at the time, and yeah, I don't, because I feel like I didn't answer that question head on. I did believe at the time that that was more of a possibility than perhaps it was. You know, I'm thinking about it now, and I'm thinking about kind of the confluence of things that I was thinking about. It was a lot of different factors, and it was confusing. So I yet at the same time, in retrospect, I I I don't think it was a responsible thing to tweet. I apologize to Dylan for tweeting it. You know, and hopefully if and when we talk, I'll get to say that. So the last thing that I wish, look, I don't know how he feels about me. I don't know if he's kind of like, you know, has listened to this and has just been like, oh, Vadim's full of shit. And that's okay. You know, I mean, that's too bad if it is, if like our friendship is like I don't necessarily expect it to be, but if our friendship is kind of like irrevocably damaged as a result of this, then I have to kind of live with that. And I understand that. But I just, I, I, Demon Mama is the one who I think, even though that I know that I like have a lot at risk here, Demon Mama is someone who, first of all, I think that she deserves a much larger community than she has. She gets all this shit that personally I don't think she'd get if she was a more typical debate. I mean, she's not a bro, but you understand what I mean when I say debate bro. I don't want to misgender her.
Yeah, no, I
and
understand where you're coming from.
and
Yeah.
and she has, and regardless of whether you like her or not in this situation, all of these all of these kind of like narratives have been spun. And I'm not saying that I think that Dylan wanted this to happen, but there are all these people, after she already has so much to deal with, there are all these people who are calling her a crybaby, which she absolutely was not. I said that I thought that she batted away some tears. That's not being a crybaby. And she didn't do that. So she's not that. A lot of people were calling her a drama whore. I was the one who brought the thing up. She treated the whole thing gracefully. I know that this is a time commitment, and but it's like, damage is done because of the fact that like the after like all of that is on Destiny's thing. And to me, what would show a great deal of empathy and character and just it would be so big of him if he decided to make some sort of video. I mean, I can't script it for him, but something to the effect of like afterthoughts on the Hippy Dippy drama. And again, he doesn't have to bring me up at all. Like I don't need to be mentioned. And if he just said like, like I recognize that now that there were, like it was all good fun. We had a good time, but there were some kind of things that resulted as a course of it. Like I stand by her. I think that she is extremely truthful. I don't think that she was there are a lot of negative accusations towards her with this whole thing, and I don't stand by them. And I completely denounce them, and something like that. I'm not going to go on further because like I don't want to try and write this for him, and it's not something that he could do unless it's something that's genuinely in his heart. But I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Look, I understand.
It really bums me out, man. Like this whole thing just really. I'm sorry. Now I'm gonna get this like, oh, crybaby thing. Yeah, okay, yes, I am. I'll admit it. Hey, everybody, Vadim being a crybaby here. But it really bothers me that there are so many people, and I don't think it's all stems from this, but some of it has to do with her status as an individual, and it fucking sucks, man. I hate seeing this shit, and that's why I'm talking about when I see these memes celebrating CTV, who is funny. He's a funny guy, but he's transphobic as fuck. And celebrating this drunken guy who just like shit all over her and just like just totally Lily because she deals with that all the time. Imagine like I just have so many trans friends and they tell me these stories. I can only begin to comprehend what that's like, and she's one of the toughest people I know when it comes to dealing with that stuff. And so I think that there are all these labels, all these things that have already been perpetuated, that this entire like thing has continued to perpetuate. And I don't think that Dylan wants that. I don't think I don't think he considered it. And maybe he's listening to me right now and he's like, dude, this motherfucker's crazy. Like, what? Like these things do not follow. Maybe he thinks that. But just like it's like I'll survive. It sucks for me. But like I just feel like, like and he also has a right to be angry with me. So if he doesn't want to make it about me, I don't fucking care. But I just wish he'd do something and be a kind friend to her, which I know he cares about her, So that's
Sure.
it. And I'm
Okay,
sorry,
man.
I was not expecting to get emotional about it.
No, it's
but
okay.
it
Don't worry
just-
about it. Honestly, don't feel bad about it. I understand this has been, an emotional thing for you, so you don't need to apologize. It's not a problem, okay?
Yeah, totally.
I think, what I'd say though is, I think what's really key now is, we'll wrap things up, take a moment, If you want to like drop me a DM later, or you want to chat one-on-one offline when I'm off stream, I'll make time to do that, no problem at all. And I think what's really key is you and Dylan, having a chat one-on-one and really trying to hash some of this stuff out.
Sure. I mean, like I want to say just real quickly, I'm chiller now. I completely agree with you. I know the chat is bullshit, but there are people who are like, this is why it should have been private. Okay, yeah, maybe some people are going to take advantage of this, but those people are going to be dipshits. They're going to be the equivalents of anti-SJW assholes from 2016. You might as well fly a fucking Kekistan flag in your like if you can't deal with a human being showing some emotion, like yes, it's very yeah, I realize that I put a lot out there, but this is who I am, and I am not like ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed of like crying and showing some emotion about things that I care about online. And to any of you people who look at that as a sign of weakness, I think, okay. I was about to be angry, but I'm going
No,
to take
don't be angry. Look, at the end of the day,
I'm going to take the empathetic route and say, like, I think you guys just need to think things over. There like the idea that guys or just people in general every now and then kind of getting emotionally invested in something and showing it, if you think that is somehow something to be embarrassed about or whatever, then you need to think about that. Like I imagine most of the people here are good people, and like think about it. It's not wrong, and if you think it's wrong, then that's just like, I don't know, not the conversation. But I think it says something about the state of masculinity in the world.
Sure, I agree with
I
you.
mean,
But the other thing I'm thinking as well
Yeah.
is I don't, toxic masculinity. Sure, I see where you're coming from. I also just I don't know. I don't want to feel like it's like I'm trying to capitalize on your emotion. Because literally we had a chat, and I don't want you to feel like I'm sitting here rubbing my hands together. Oh, look at this drama. Like, yeah, of course. If you're upset about it, I get it, and I want you to not be upset. So I am there. I'm going to be streaming for a bit longer. I'm going to speak to Demon Mama now, but like certainly later on, if you want to drop, I'll drop you a DM anyway. But if you want to have a chat off stream, one-on-one with me or whatever, then by all means we can. And I hope you manage to speak to Dylan soon and hash some of this stuff out. I think that'd be really good.
Sure, I want to thank you. I think you've been very fair. I really appreciate how I hope I didn't overspeak you. And big love to Demon Mama coming on. And I just I want to thank the chat, even those of you who maybe could use a little therapy. So are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Just I guess there's not much else to say other than thanks so much for giving me an opportunity to speak.
No worries. Look, thanks so much for coming on. I hope you felt I was fair-handed. I know you said it was fair, but I hope you felt that was, I wanted to,
Yeah.
I think it's important to push back on things and give everyone a fair sort of idea of whatnot. So yeah.
I actually have one last thing to say. I know that I keep on dragging things out, but I want to say thank you. Like I've already said thank you, but I want to thank you for a separate reason, which is, I've been slowly kind of letting go of all of this, but it's been therapeutic to have this discussion, and and thank you, and and Dylan, if you're listening, man, yeah, I totally like hope things that we can work things out, and everything that I said about you in terms of just respecting you is just 100% from the heart. Know that. So yeah, with that being said, I'll let you go, and have a good one, man, and we'll talk later.
Yeah, for sure, Vadim. Have a good one. I'll speak to you soon. Okay.
Okay, later.
Cheers. Bye.